I'm going to go over a couple of common not design elements, but digital tools. Here are the four like things you'll primarily be using aside from like colors and fonts and things like that. Images. Images and videos are there to help show things you're talking about. People will use news clips, they will use how-to videos, they will use interviews, they will use clips from TED Talks, all kinds of things. Images help show readers what you want them to see. Description can replace images, like in text where you're not allowed to use images, but images are always, easier. It's a lot more effective to, show a picture of the destroyed city than to try to describe it in great detail, and it's a lot more, it's a lot easier for readers. Images also help create tone, so a lot of times, we haven't quite gotten to emotional appeals yet, but there is a place, so this is a good time to talk about the fact that there is a place for emotion in your essays because it does engage your readers and it engages their imagination and their understanding, and we also like learn and help like process information visually. So a lot of times that emotional appeal is not there necessarily to manipulate people or to target their emotions, but to help them see what you're talking about. So a lot of times a lot of times when you're showing images, it helps convey the tone that you want it to have. A lot of time, I've had a lot of students use images, even just as simple as like clip art to help, well, not like cheesy clip art, but images that just help set the tone or show like what the topic of that section is going to be. And then we'll use images to help show like things that they're talking about. So there's a lot of different ways you can use images. Videos are the same. It's always easier to not just describe like the news story, but also show a quick clip and have it embedded. You want to think about with videos, if they're extras, like readers could go look at it if they wanted to, you can provide a link. But if you want them to see it as part of your essay, it's important that you need to lift it out of its original place, put it in your essay so people can read it without having to navigate away from your paper. Infographics, we've talked about this. It is still visual because it helps people visualize data. You just want to make sure that you're not just dropping infographics in, because a lot of times we do not know where it originally came from. We don't know who made it. We don't know what it is you're wanting us to see in this graph, and we interpret information differently. So we might not even, a reader might see that graph and just brush on by it and not even look at it if you don't talk about it in the text. And that's one of the reasons why, for it to be considered a source in your paper, you have to write about it. If you have infographics, they should not be just dumped in there without captions and without discussion about where it came from, how to read it, what it's supposed to show, what it proves. Hyperlinks, of course, to cite sources. You should be linking us to your sources. That's what all digital texts do. But also for extra things. If there's like a history page we could go to read more about something, you can link us to a news article to get more information or more background. They're also gestural in terms of you providing us resources to learn more about terms and issues and events and things like that, which kind of like brings me back to the fact that you want to make sure that we have commentary and explanation where we need it, just like for the infographics for images. If it's not there just for tone, like it's there to show something, we probably need a caption and a link to where it came from. Videos, the same thing. You want to make sure you're not just dumping videos into the text, that they have captions. We have access to the full versions of those videos. And that you're talking about them in the text. There should be no videos that you've embedded that you didn't discuss as a source in your text. Tell us what the video is, who's speaking, where it came from, what it is we're supposed to take away from that particular clip. So just some ideas there. Oh, sorry, I'm in backtrack. People always ask me this. No, there's not a certain number of anything you're supposed to use, because some essays will have lots of infographics and lots of data, but won't have as many videos, but we'll have some images. Some people, it depends on your topic. Some people will have a web page and will have lots of images and arrows and videos and all kinds of things, but won't have as many infographics and things. And people will often like make like different uses for links. So this part is really about you making good choices and practicing making your own choices for your audience and for the type of genre you have in the topic. So it is a very much like with the design and digital tools, a practice in rhetorical knowledge. Here's some quick like advanced Wix design tips. You're going to run into problems. Wix is super fun. you're going to need to create lots of text boxes. Like for each paragraph, you need a text box. Here's why. You have these large chunks of text. You can't add images. You can't add videos. You can't manipulate or play with how it looks at all. That's why you need a text box for each paragraph. Because really want to make sure that you're paragraphing and not having these walls of text. It's also a way that you can move those paragraphs around your images. I'm going to skip down actually to number 3. It helps you create the text wrapping effect that you'll notice some of the student examples have, where this is a text box, one paragraph, the next paragraph is here in a separate text box, and it wraps that image. But you can't do that if you have everything in one text box. Creating reader-friendly, sorry, it's skipping around again. Create some reader-friendly, sorry, it's doing that on its own. Create some reader-friendly contrast. If you go back to the syllabus, I used boxes behind my text. I used a background overlay, and I have a clip here. You can go to the actual presentation and click here, and you can go to Wix tutorials and figure out how to do things. I'm also going to try to hold like a face-to-face practice sometime in the next week that I'll be announcing using the Google Meet classroom. But with this, it's just if you have a video or an image background, sometimes it's hard to read the text. So using boxes behind your paragraphs, using the repeater option, which I don't know too much about. I haven't really used it before. I find it complicated, but I've had students try it before. Using the background overlay can help just create kind of a barrier between the video where you can see, still see the image or the video, but also read the text, and you can play with the opacity of that and the transparency where you can still see the video, but it just helps the text be a little bit more reader friendly, and that's one thing I'll be trying to help people with when we do the face-to-face practice. The other one is Embed Codes. If you're trying to use a TED Talk, you probably will need to use, you need to use the video straight from TED Talk, right? And again, we practiced adding YouTube videos, and a lot of times, most videos are super easy to add. If you're going to use something from like a TED Talk, there's no easy way to do that. It's a little bit tricky. So here's a link about how to find the iframe. And this is again something I'll try to show when we do the face-to-face option. Sorry, I switched again. So the easiest way I can describe how to find that without pulling up Wix altogether is if you're in that add button trying to add things to your page, you scroll all the way down to more. There's an option to add the HTML code, and then that's where you would paste it. And then here is a little bit of a visual walkthrough. You can probably pull these up easier from the standard presentation without the screencast and see the directions. If you're pulling up, say, a TED Talk, you would find the share button. You would select the embed code, and then you would copy that code. It's not that similar. It's not that dissimilar from finding a link and copying and pasting it. You're just finding the embed code instead. And again, some people are able to figure this out kind of on their own, but I will be hosting that face-to-face to help also.